I completely agree that it is not compassionate to kill animals for food when we don't have to. And I admire vegans for two reasons. First, they are trying to take a principled stand. I think that anyone who is striving to live their life by a hierarchy of values and have some clearly defined virtues ought to be commended for that. Secondly, vegans are thinking about their health. You won't make it very long as a vegan if you don't educate yourself and learn how to get all your essential nutrients, some of which can't be sourced from plants, and therefore you have to get a little creative and probably take some supplements. Regardless, you're taking steps to improve your life, and I think that's a very good thing. That being said, I do have to wonder how many vegans are aware of where their food comes from and how it's grown. It's the middle of February, and I'm standing next to a commercial field here where soybeans and corn are grown, and I'm standing in a regenerative pasture, grass-fed and finished cows and sheep are raised in a rotational grazing system from spring through fall. I thought I'd come out here and do a little side-by-side comparison of these two plots of land, and for simplicity's sake, we'll refer to the commercial farmland as a vegan plot and this grazing land as the carnivore plot. When you go to the grocery store and you buy plant-based products and produce in their nice shiny little packages, you receive your food with several degrees of separation between you and what it took to produce that product from start to finish. First, the ground in the vegan plot had to be tilled. It's not just other plants and weeds that are being tilled up and killed, though. Every mouse, vole, mole, shrew, snake, and ground nesting bird is also killed. Those are just the animals we can see, and that's to say nothing of another entire world of microscopic organisms which make up the microbiome beneath the surface. When you till up the earth, you kill millions of small animals such as earthworms, ants, beetles, spiders, millipedes, and centipedes, not to mention billions of beneficial bacteria, protozoa, and other organisms. Just the process of preparing and planting a field is absolute death and carnage. Then, because the first round of destruction didn't kill off everything that was there or everything that might enter that field at a later time, the farmer is going to need to go back and spray the field with poisons like herbicides, fungicides, and pesticides. The EPA estimates that pesticides kill 70 million birds a year in the US alone, 500 million birds in the last 40 years. Pesticides kill bees and other pollinators as well. They poison the water supply and kill still more wildlife for miles around. Glyphosate, a prevalent weed killer, has seen a drastic increase in the use over the years and has been linked to cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and numerous other metabolic diseases. Now, if it's hurting humans who are only being exposed to supposedly trace remnants of it in our food, how much worse is it for wildlife who can't avoid it and eat freshly contaminated sources of feed and water? Basically, what you have in your pretty brightly packaged plant-based food products and produce is the result of the loss of hundreds, if not tens of thousands of lives. You just never had to witness them dying. You might feel better not knowing about it because you couldn't see the death and carnage that took place in order so that you could eat. But it's pure delusion to believe that nothing had to die in order for you to eat because you didn't see the animals being sliced and diced by the plow, their habitat ripped to shreds and destroyed, or the billions of songbirds, bees, and pollinators that are slowly, painfully poisoned and starved to death. Now, compare that to the pasture that I'm standing in right here. On this carnivore plot, there is minimal intervention. When we planted the pastures, we didn't till them. We barely disturbed the soil when they were seeded. We didn't use chemicals to kill weeds, insects, birds, or bees. The animals graze the pasture, and we rotate them to fresh pasture regularly so they don't kill off an area. This also helps us avoid using dewormers because they aren't picking up parasites from their own waste and building up a toxic load of worms. Our animals live a great life, happy and content with all their needs and wants supplied. They couldn't be more content. Then, one day, they go peacefully to sleep for the last time, painlessly, no fear, in the most compassionate, humane, and gentle way possible. We honor the life and the sacrifice of that animal by making use of every last part that we possibly can. What we can't use goes back into the soil to feed our dogs who are biologically obligate carnivores. Nothing goes to waste. One cow, a sheep, and maybe a pig and a dozen chickens can feed and sustain me for about 1 year. No chickens die to provide me with eggs, which they're going to lay year-round whether I eat them or not. That means less than 20 lives have to come to an end for me to eat. How many animals have to die for a vegan to eat, I wonder, on an annual basis? Hundreds, thousands, a million? More? Juxtaposing the vegan plot of land over here with the carnivore plot that I'm standing on, which sustains more life? On which plot of land must more life be destroyed in order to use it efficiently? My pasture is teeming with life. This field is barren. Under the surface of the soil in my pasture is a diverse and thriving microbiome, creating a rich natural environment for plants to grow, which feeds and nourishes my animals. The soil of this field is depleted of minerals and sanitized of all life, visible and invisible. Millions of diverse wildlife make their homes unmolested in my pastures. Millions of wildlife are mutilated and poisoned every year in that field. There is a thriving population of earthworms in my soil, amongst other life forms, that help rejuvenate and enrich this soil. There are no earthworms left in the commercial field soil. They've all been killed off for years and years by now. So which plot of land is used more ethically, sustainably, and compassionately? On the carnivore plot of land here, virtually nothing is killed except what we need to eat for food. On the vegan plot of land, everything is indiscriminately killed and left to rot in dishonor of its life, unused without any care or respect given for the value of those lives that are taken, so that a vegan can eat. It is absolutely delusional to imagine that a vegan lifestyle is bloodless or more compassionate than a carnivore lifestyle. At the end of the day, I'm not saying either vegan or carnivore is morally better than one or the other. I'll leave that up to the individual to decide. Ultimately, both require the end of life in order that our lives can be sustained and continue. I'm just stating the reality of the situation. I guess the only question for me at the end of the day is, would it be better to follow a lifestyle that requires the end of more life or less life? Personally, I'm going to go with the compassionate carnivore diet that depends on less death to sustain my life. So less than 20 animal lives are going to have to be sacrificed this year in order to sustain my life. How many do you figure are going to need to die to sustain yours? Just because you didn't see them die doesn't mean your diet didn't require some blood to be shed.